assumption is that Abraham was this charismatic kind of guy who could tell a story like that and get people to accept it. Is there some kind of parallel in Israel today where some leader can say things in a way that is acceptable to the population, to get them to accept things that they might not otherwise, or at least get the ball rolling in the right direction? It's a crazy, off-the-wall question.
There might be, the one person who might be able to do that, unfortunately doesn't do that, and that's perhaps Shimon Peres. Shimon Peres would have been at one point the most hated politician in Israel, is today perceived by a wide majority of Israelis as a president that we're all proud of and that Israel is worthy of. But, and Shimon Peres is someone who won the Nobel Peace Prize for the Oslo Agreement together with Yitzhak Rabin and Yasser Arafat, should be able to say things that are not so easy for Israelis to hear. And he doesn't really do that. He talks about peace, but he also too often, I think, gives the mantra that Israelis are used to hearing, of putting blame on the other side more than taking responsibility ourselves. And I think this is out of a deep need of Shimon Peres to be loved by the people after being hated for so many years, that he doesn't want to put him back in a place where he's seen as being controversial or not within the consensus. So he doesn't step out of that. But he has the potential to do it, and maybe he will, but he hasn't yet.
What about the other side? So you can say other things.
I think that that the Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas, has been painted by so many Israeli leaders as being a coward and being weak, that people have a difficult time in seeing how courageous and how strong he has become. Arik Sharon had called him a chick without feathers. He's never going to fly, never going to take off, he's never going to have the support of the people. And I think that what he has achieved over the past years and his insistence to stick to his positions of calling for peace, of being against any form of violent resistance, of saying that the Second Intifada was a huge mistake for the Palestinian people and was morally wrong, and he has said this. And the actions that he's taken on the ground prove to a great extent that he is a peacemaker.
But is he respected?
Not enough. One of the sad things about Palestinian political culture, and I think this goes beyond the borders of Palestine into the Arab world in general, is that while Palestinians are very moderate people in their own lives, in the way that they view the world, most Palestinians, they have an admiration for extremism within their political culture. They admire the extreme and they view the moderate as weak. A moderate, the word moderate in Arabic and the connotations of moderation are capitulation and surrender, and not something which is positive. So this is a paradox, an unfortunate paradox within Palestinian cultural life, Palestinian political culture, with an admiration for the extreme. Someone who stands up and makes a fiery speech with extreme words is admired, and someone who speaks moderation is viewed as being weak, and that's unfortunate.
Is that how Arafat became so much supporting the people hated him?
People didn't hate Arafat. People loved Arafat and saw him as the father of the nation. He was the Palestinian George Washington, and he was respected and admired and thought to be very courageous, both for the things that he did and the things that he said. that he was willing to go to the extremes. But he was also responsible for bringing the Palestinian dream from the whole 100% of the land from the river to the sea to accept a Palestinian state in 22% of the land. So Arafat had the qualities that people admired. I found it very difficult to understand Palestinian friends and colleagues who had such admiration for Arafat, because I thought that the Palestinian people deserved a much better leader. And I think that Arafat made some huge mistakes. And I think that we also made some huge mistakes in dealing with Arafat. I had once suggested to Prime Minister Rabin, after the Oslo process began, that if Arafat insisted to continue to wear his military uniform, then Rabin should tell him that he would meet with the Israeli generals, but not with the Israeli Prime Minister. And then if Arafat wanted to meet with the Israeli Prime Minister, he should dress and look like a statesman. And Rabin didn't agree with me and thought that it was improper for us to tell Arafat how to dress. But I thought there was much more symbolism in the dress and the importance of that in giving a message of a transformation of the Palestinian struggle from being a revolutionary struggle to being a state-building struggle, and that Arafat never stood up to be the statesman that the Palestinian people deserved. But most of my Palestinian friends don't agree with me.